Olá, I am Mia. I post videos about Portugal and Portuguese every week. So if you're interested in this kind of content, just subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell. Today we will speak about the best way to learn Portuguese. Make sure to stay until the end to find out what kind of student you are. That will help you a lot in your journey to become fluent. So, the best way to learn Portuguese is by listening to yourself. I know it sounds really cheesy to say this, but this is really the way to go, not only with Portuguese, but also with any other language. Let me try to explain myself better. Every person is different, right? Some people like sugar in their coffee, some people don't. Some people even don't like coffee at all. Some people like to sleep on their sides, some people prefer being on their back, and that will be the best way they will sleep. Sure, they can train themselves to sleep in another way, but there is always one way that will make them sleep better. Well, but you might be thinking, what does coffee or sleeping have to do with the best way to learn Portuguese? I just mean that people are different, so I always tell my students that they have to listen to themselves and to what their preferences are. If it worked for them while learning other languages or even other skills, it will probably work for them with Portuguese too. So, to best learn Portuguese, you should find out which kind of student you are. Let me give you some examples of the type of students that I have come across while teaching. And I do not prefer one kind over another. I really think any of these types are good if it helps you learn faster and more effectively. So, the type number 1 is the traditional learners. These are the people that will have to sit down and get hands-on with grammar and vocabulary and everything else that comes on a language book before they can actually start speaking the language. It will take them generally more time to start speaking, but they will already understand you after a while if you write them a note, and they will be able to read European Portuguese in no time. I like to call these people the shy perfectionist type. I myself have a little bit of this in me, so this is no way a criticism. It's just the way it is. We are all different. The type number 2 is the backwards learner. These students are normally more extrovert than the ones that I spoke about before, and they will like to learn the language backwards. Therefore the name. What I mean by this is that they normally really prefer to learn as they go, not worrying much about learning the grammar and vocabulary before they start practicing their speech. They will make some mistakes, some will make a lot of mistakes, but they will still learn the language at their own pace, and this will not prevent them from speaking when they need to. No mistake will make them stop. It is kind of like when we are learning our first language, and it is actually getting pretty trendy to learn languages in this less traditional way. This kind of learning is especially good if you are living in Portugal or if you have a community of European Portuguese speakers in the area where you live. If you are this kind of student, you might want to learn through my course, Storytime. In this course, you'll receive one story per week during 1 year so that you learn Portuguese in a natural way. The stories are all in Portuguese, written by me, and you'll be asked to interact with them. This way, you'll acquire the language naturally. The type number 3 is the mixed type learner. These learners will tend to have a little bit of the two types of learners that I've described before. Sure, they like to have some ground rules about grammar, but they will also try and go out and speak the language any way they can. I normally recommend this type of learning to students who don't live in Portugal, as they probably won't have so much time and opportunity to practice only the speaking part. On the other hand, I recommend that they have some grammar, vocabulary, listening, and practicing speech classes so that they can really apply it later when they have more opportunities to speak in a real-life context. If you are this kind of student and you want to follow a course that gives you everything you need, that will help you with the grammar, vocabulary, and the more theoretical part of language learning, but also with the speaking, pronunciation, and natural interactions with the language, then I would like to invite you to check my all-in-one Portuguese course. You will get what you need to become fluent within 6 months. I will leave a link to a free webinar about it in the description below in case you want to check it out. If you have any questions about it, please let me know. So, these are, in my opinion, the 3 types of characters we can find in people who are trying to learn a language or any other thing. As I previously said, there is no right or wrong kind of learner, you just have to do what you think suits you best. However, I do have some tips I would like to give you if you are trying to learn this intriguing and fascinating language. I will speak about these tips in my video next week on Monday. So if you liked the video from today, feel free to subscribe to my channel for more. I'll see you then. Beijinhos!